are you ready to welcome startup number 3 with me? So let's give a warm welcome to Tether.
Check this.
Your time starts now.
Hi everyone, my name is Louis. I'm the founder and CEO of Tether. And we turn electric vehicles into a green backup for the power grid. But what exactly does that mean? So, as we all know, we're moving towards ever more renewable energy, which is brilliant. But the problem is the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow. And that uncertainty in power generation is a huge problem for power grid operators. And if it gets bad enough, it can lead to a total grid blackout. So, in order to avoid that from happening, every day we go from this to this. That's because we're paying millions of euros to fossil fuel power plants to stand by just in case they're needed to make up the slack from intermittent renewable energy. Not only is that incredibly inefficient, but it undermines our carbon reduction goals. Now, if you didn't know this, it's okay. I actually learned this when I was working at General Electric as a solar design engineer. Now, I loved my job, but one of the most frustrating things about it was the sheer number of solar projects that I designed that did not get built precisely because of grid instability concerns. Now, the solution here would have been to add energy storage, batteries. But batteries are incredibly expensive, and a lot of times they kill the economics of a renewable energy project. But then one day, as I was walking by one of these solar canopies that I had built, and I saw the thousands of cars parked underneath, it dawned on me. When those cars became electric vehicles, they would essentially just be giant batteries that happened to have wheels. And with 130 million of those cars being sold in Europe alone, all of the energy storage that we could ever need was going to be sitting there waiting to be used. And that's exactly what Tether does. We turn parked electric vehicles into the world's largest, greenest distributed battery that helps reinforce the power grid. Okay, but what does that mean and how do we work? We're creating sophisticated machine learning and optimization algorithms that help predict and coordinate how and when thousands of vehicles charge relative to each other and what's happening on the power grid. That allows us to bid the flexible power of those cars on the 10 billion euro balancing markets, which is where we make our money, and then we share part of our revenue with our partners for letting us connect to their vehicles in the first place. And speaking of partners, we currently have a proof of concept with Audi in collaboration with the VW innovation team. We're working alongside multiple OEMs as part of Mobility X Lab 2024, and we're launching a vehicle-to-grid testbed at the Royal Institute of Technology in Sweden, which is our launch market. But finally, the company is nothing without its team. We're a group of talented machine learning engineers, mathematicians, senior developers, and renewable energy experts with backgrounds in companies like General Electric, Amazon, and Northvolt. We are about to kick off our fundraising round, so if you're interested, please contact me at that email, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much. Let's give it up to the judges. What's your first question?
Hello, I've got a simple question. I've seen that in your team there are engineers. Who is selling among you?
I'm the one selling, yes. Doing all the pitching, all the selling, everything.
First of all, thanks so much. Really, really interesting space. We're also spending a lot of time on. In an ideal world, you're always able to kind of quantify your value proposition, ideally in like monetary terms, right? So could you maybe elaborate a little on that? What's the actual underlying euro saving potential?
Yes. So we can save up to 25% on the cost of charging of individual private users. But on top of that, we actually generate revenue on the balancing markets. So depending on the price of them on the market, we can earn up to 5 euros per electric vehicle per day, but that varies.
So, I mean, fun fact, I worked for BMW i Ventures and some other OEMs, so that's an area I looked into a little bit. Just curious on the market dynamics, how you would see it on the bidirectional charging side. It's not really 120 million cars right today, but what is really the addressable market for you? That's one question, and then how do you manage the depreciation of the cars through repeated charging?
Yes, those are two great questions. So first of all, we don't need the cars or the chargers to be bidirectional to start doing this. We're starting with unidirectional chargers because, like you said, most cars today cannot charge and discharge. Now, the way we do that is we predict when vehicles will be charging, which we then tell the grid operator, hey, we're going to have 3,000 cars charging during this time. Maybe that's equivalent to 2 megawatts of power. During that time, if there's a grid event, right, what we can do is pause or stop the charging of those cars, essentially freeing those megawatts, which is the same thing as generating them on the market. And on the battery degradation side, we actually extend the lifetime of the vehicle battery because, well, in the unidirectional case, there's not additional cycles. And in fact, we're keeping the state of charge of the battery within a band that is actually more healthy. So it's additional value for the end user as well.
Can you dumb it down for me a little bit? So I'm like an end user now, and how does it work? Do I have to like park then near a windmill, or do I just do this like at home, or how does it actually work for me?
No, in a perfect world, you won't even know that we are integrated into the car. We are partnering and selling directly to the OEMs. We want to be a white label solution that's integrated in the car. So essentially, you will have your app. It will be no different from the charging that you use with an electric vehicle today.
And then in the end, again, for the OEMs, of course, the huge value is for the end user to be more differentiated. Do you have any plan? I mean, you have an incredible pipeline already. Who are your preferred partners, and will you also limit that to kind of make it exclusive?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think what's going to end up happening is that, there's multiple families of vehicles, right? So the VW Group, Stellantis, et cetera. I assume that what will end up happening is we will become exclusive to one of those, which would be a great scenario for us if that happens.
No, for sure. I mean, we have startup Autobahn, so we work with a lot of OEMs, and I know that's a very important part for them because it's a key differentiator. And now you already said you're fundraising, so what will you spend the money on, and what are the next key milestones?
Yeah, so essentially it's, we want to expand the team. I want to hire more machine learning engineers. We want to explore other prediction models, such as reinforcement learning. Obviously, we want to expand the sales team as well, because right now I'm doing all the sales, and we want to expand our pipeline there. And then the next milestone is we're launching in the Swedish market. We're getting the regulatory approval from the grid operator, and we're looking at the joint European market, which is, that's our next milestone.
Maybe just a follow-up question. How much money are you planning to raise?
Right now we're planning on a 1.5 million, up to 2, depending on the traction and valuation.
And just on private customers versus fleets, just curious on where you focus on first.
Yeah, definitely private customers. So, a lot of people are looking at fleets. It's the low-hanging fruit. Essentially, you have one operator that has multiple vehicles. It's easy to schedule and know what they're doing. It's a significantly different challenge when you have thousands or millions of individual users, each with their own life, their own schedule. And so we're investing really heavily on that machine learning, learning the patterns and the personas of different users, being able to match them. And through that, we can unlock, we can tap into a pool of vehicles that, is untapped right now. And that's one of our main unique differentiators from competitors.
All right. Thank you very, very much for the question. Thank you for the pitch. Thank you to Tether, and thank you to Barcelona.